So hello everybody, a very happy Friday to you. Emma Mattox here, your one founder and Federation of Small Businesses membership advisor. I'm here with one of my newest members to the Federation of Small Businesses and one member, Colin. Good morning, Colin.
Good morning, Emma.
Hello. And whereabouts in the world are you today, Colin?
Well, I could be anywhere, couldn't I, to be honest?
You're in the studio, aren't you?
I'm in the studio. The odds are I'm in the UK, but I'm actually in a place called Brackley. And if I look out of my window there, I can see Lewis Hamilton's office.
Oh gosh, really? Are you serious?
I'm actually serious, yeah. I can actually see his office from here.
Can we have a look?
You could.
Next time, you weren't prepared for that.
I'm not going to move the laptop through the window to let you have a look at Lewis, but it's there.
Come on.
It's very nice. It's got a couple of cars in the foyer. I mean, what kind of business would have two Formula One cars worth about £5 million each sitting in the foyer?
Oh, how lovely. A Formula One car cleaning business, maybe. Formula One garage. There's a few.
Yeah. I wasn't asking for specific examples just then, by the way. It was rhetorical. Okay. And you being an English graduate, know the meaning of the word rhetorical, wouldn't you?
I might do. Maybe I do. I think
Actually,
I do.
Have you learned any new words today, Emma?
Yes, indeed. Well, you've refreshed my memory.
And then you've not only got to remember it, you've got to spell it.
That was it. You were talking about gravitas.
Yeah. We're talking about being a starter on a Greek menu, weren't we?
Yeah. So right, we're going off. We're going off piece now. So, coming back to business, you are in the studio. There's a lovely story behind that, but we'll get back to that in a minute.
We'll do that another. Yeah.
Basically, what I'd like you to do is to introduce your good self and tell everybody a bit about what you do.
Okay, everybody out there listening and watching. This is your big treat for the morning. My name is Colin Finch. I am what is known as a funeral celebrant. So what does that do? Well, I work for the Humanists, which is an accredited organisation. And basically we carry out funeral services. So my job would be to initially contact the family, find out about the deceased, write the tribute, suggest pieces of music, suggest poetry, and basically conduct the ceremony to the point where the coffin would be dispatched to its final resting place. And that is my job. And it's extremely rewarding, although it sounds a bit weird and people do usually screw their face up when I tell them what I do. I actually love my work. And I think I'm probably quite lucky in that respect, because I know a lot of people will say they love their work that they probably don't.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's very interesting, because you don't get to meet people like you every day. You get to meet people like you sometimes when it's not.
Well, you'd hope not too frequently, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And so what is it then that you love about your job then? So if you just pick the three or four, I mean, that's really interesting.
That's a good question. The first thing, I mean, I think very few people can actually say they are genuinely helping people. Now, I know a lot of people in sales will sell you something and then believe they're actually helping you, but they've actually just sold you something they want you to buy. Whereas I think I'm standing in front of a family group, might be, well, it's obviously getting larger these days, but they've been quite small, as you know. And these people are fairly troubled, and let's face it, no one wants to be there. No one enjoys a funeral service, but we do tend to remember them. So my job is to make a fairly crappy day a little bit better, to give people who are there probably some additional memories of the deceased, perhaps things they didn't know about, things they'd done, things they'd talked about, or ambitions or dreams, and just try to sort of carry on their memory. So when they leave, they will continue to talk about that person. And that's what I like about it, because I can do nothing about the circumstance whatsoever. They've died and that's it. We can't bring them back. And being a humanist means that we believe that you only have one chance at life. We don't believe in an afterlife. So death is fairly final, but let's give them a good send-off.
Yeah. So that's really interesting then. So as a humanist, do funerals and ceremonies have different. What's your job title, Colin?
Well,
Funeral
I would still
conductor,
be a funeral. I would still be called a funeral celebrant, and that's what my card
funeral
says.
celebrant.
Yeah.
And so, you being a humanist, then I wouldn't see you in a Catholic church
No.
or in a Jewish synagogue or
No.
anything like that. You are for atheist people, are
Well,
you?
that's atheist is probably is probably perhaps a fairly narrow term, because there's also people that are fairly agnostic. Yeah, I mean, we do allow a tiny amount of religion in the service, because you have to realise that if you're doing a service in front of 20, 30 people and you've got some fairly close family members there will be an element of a percentage of people that will be religious. And there's usually a bit of a battle. I mean, my experience is, so I want a religious service, I don't want religion, he wasn't religious, she was, and it ends up being not about the deceased's wishes, but the wishes of the family. So from time to time, we have to allow an incorporation of a small amount of religion. I won't read anything religious. If someone wants to come up and do a religious reading, that's fine. But I wouldn't have hymns or anything like that. I think if you want to do that, you might as well go to have a full religious service.
Yeah.
So we are respectful. I mean, the thing about, I was having this chat literally on Wednesday with someone over lunch, and I think humanist is such a weird term, because actually, if you drill down, most of us are humanists, but it sounds like a cult. But all we are is we're respectful of everybody. We think everyone has a right to their beliefs. People have a right to be treated properly, and you find actually more tolerance from humanists about other religions than religions are tolerant of other religions themselves. And most of them hate each other. We don't hate anyone. It's just the fact that we just believe, well, live and let live. If they want to believe that, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I must say, I think religion is a beautiful thing. I think it's people that spoil it. But so what you do is get rid of the nonsense.
Do you believe?
Yeah. So I'm Christian. Yeah. So sort of brought up as a Catholic, and I'm Christian, and I believe in God and all that good stuff. Yeah. And I'm suspicious of people that don't believe in something after life, because, well, what's just stopping you doing whatever you want to do on this planet then? Nothing.
Well, the afterlife is a bit of an oxymoron, really, isn't it? Because afterlife is death. And, I think it's very nice. I think people do derive some comfort from the thought that there is something afterwards. But from my perspective, and sort of humanist, I think it's wrong to give people false hope, because you are telling them something that we don't actually believe is real. And
you sound like my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, well, it's not me, it's science. I mean, science gets us out of, science always gives us answers, and one of the answers it's given us is there's no way that you can be alive after you're dead.
Well, now science. Now let's just take this argument here, Colin.
It's a discussion.
Science actually dictates that you can't have something and then nothing. You have matter, and that matter just turns into some different type of matter.
Exactly right. Atoms.
So there has to be something after, because you can't just go from something to nothing. Science proves
you can, because I'll give you a classic example. When you die and when I die, our bodies are constructed of millions and billions and trillions of atoms. In fact, there are more atoms in a grain of sand than there are stars in our galaxy. So that's how many atoms we're made of. And those atoms can't be destroyed. They can only be destroyed by a process called nuclear fission, which is how you create a bomb. That's when you split the atom and the power released. We'll know the consequences. So those atoms go on to be other things.
Carbon matter.
Well, yeah, they're the hydrogen atoms. So carbon is a different type of atom, but they're mainly hydrogen atoms.
I was thinking of the ashes.
Okay. But at the end of the day, it will be hydrogen atoms. But there's atoms in you now and me of Julius Caesar, absolutely guaranteed. Because they spread throughout the world. So everything you
always knew there was a bit of Caesar in me. Yeah. I'll go with that.
You do like Italian restaurants, don't you?
Sure, I like a bit of gnocchi. Who doesn't?
You see, that's what it is. So those atoms go around, and they just become something else. But they're not. You can't put them all back together.
There you go. They turn into something else. There we go, Colin. And what about the energy? We're talking about the matter. What about the energy? a human being has energy, and then when the carbon matter turns into something else like ashes, where does the energy go? It's released into something else.
It dissipates. Yeah, it dissipates into the universe. You can't destroy energy.
There we go, and there's your afterlife.
Yeah, but no, but that's like saying, that's for you, Emma. It's like saying, I've got a jigsaw. I've just done a 1,000-piece jigsaw, and I'm going to throw it all up in the air, and it's all going to land as a jigsaw properly put together. That's what you're suggesting.
I didn't say that. That's a terrible metaphor. That's nothing like what I'm saying.
Because that's how you have something. Because you'd have to have every constituent part of that person reformed back.
They wouldn't.
Well, how would it work then?
Well, this is the mystery of the afterlife, right? How does it work? How does it work? Wow. Another argument I would say in my favour, in favour of dear Lord, would be that you can't argue with physical experiences. And so I'm with you. I'm not just a blind believer. Because my parents have told me that there's something in the sky, it has to be there. Oh, no. I get a physical sensation when I go into church, a physical sensation, and it's the same one every time. And when I go into the pew, I've always had it since I was a little girl. I go into the pew, and you do your thing, and you open up the channel to God. I always feel the hand of God on my shoulder, and it's always on that one. Always feel it. Just a nice hello, Em.
Is it a nice hand?
Can't argue with that.
Is it like a hairy hand or like a clean hand?
No, it's not a hairy hand.
Has he done his nails properly? Because that's one thing.
It's just a nice, warm, friendly pat on my shoulder.
And so that's so. Okay, so I would say that's great.
Oh my God, like a trapped nerve.
But do you know what? Then if you apply that someone is what, then what about all the, we'll change the tone a bit, all the tragedy, all the mothers, the young mothers that die of cancer, all the babies that die. Where's God's hand? Is he just very benign, or is he not there at all? That's what I always think.
I see, that's a separate conversation we could have in private.
People would say to me, he doesn't work in that way, or she. And I was thinking, well, it's always a bit of a cop-out, isn't it? It's always like when you actually confront people with something that is doesn't make sense about the concept of religion, they say, well, it doesn't work like that. It's a bit like Boris Johnson answering a question.
No, I could certainly get into it with you. No, I certainly could. I love a good debate. I really
honestly,
do.
If you like it, I mean, because of my training and the way I actually believe, I'm very happy that you're a believer and you get comfort from it. I have no issue with it whatsoever.
Yeah. Don't worry. But isn't it lovely? But isn't it lovely that we can all just kind of be in an environment in London, in the UK, where we can have difference of opinions
and share
it online, and it's lovely, isn't it?
I find it fascinating. I find the human condition fascinating. I find it fascinating that people believe different things. I know my best friend is deeply religious. We've never had an argument. He knows exactly where I stand. I know where he stands. We laugh about our differences. Yeah, we'll make jokes about it. So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I could be a fool. Like I said, I could be a fool with a trapped nerve.
Yeah. You could.
Who knows? Well, this was lovely. I must say, gosh, this has been one of my more riveting.
Emma, I've gone easy on you. This is
thank you.
This is me respecting your audience, who probably prefer you to me, and are thinking that we don't know this guy from. I was going to say this guy from Adam, but it's probably not the phrase I should use, is it?
We'll ask Eve.
We'll ask Eve. Yeah.
No, lovely. I mean, I would absolutely say to anybody, if they're looking for a non-religious, sensitive funeral celebrant,
with some laughs.
For sure. Yeah, we've had some good giggles this morning about a very tricky subject. So yeah, you're a good guy to know. What's the best way to get hold of you, Colin?
People can ring me. They can email me. I think all the details will be on the website that you're going to post up, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll post a link for you. Go on then. I'll get the boys at Be More Social to do it, because they do my marketing.
I went up to a care home last week, and I spoke to, obviously at social distance in the garden. I was up in Leicestershire, and I was talking to, because they've asked me to go in and talk about non-religious services for people in care. And it was, a lot of them did have belief, but not as much to actually see it through. Do you know what I mean? They were sort of just slightly suspicious. There might be something there, and I like that conversation. I don't ever try and talk someone out of something, because I think you can never argue with a belief, because a belief comes about because a belief isn't a fact. A fact is a fact. A belief is a belief. You're trying to argue against a belief.
Yeah.
I know this person isn't going to annoy me now.
Oh.
So I never argue with beliefs. It's like you should never argue with how someone feels, because how they feel is how they feel. You can't say you don't feel like that, you're wrong. That's how they feel.
Yeah.
And their feelings are based on a lot of things, not just one thing. So, and I think we just need a bit more tolerance, don't we? So
yeah,
I think we could have a fantastic row as well, though. I'm not counting that out. But I think we could also have quite a constructive.
I disagree. I don't think we could have a good row. We're too giggly. We get along too much.
We start
too
laughing.
respectful.
Yeah, I would start laughing, and I have been known. Another phrase. I've been known to play devil's advocate a lot. I do actually like to construct the conversation in such a way so all elements are explored. But I do sit in front of families, and I sit in front of people with belief, and we think there's a God, but he didn't want anything. It's almost like I'm there as some sort of pariah because I'm
maybe a referee.
Yeah, but they think, we're only doing this because he doesn't believe in God. We all believe, and I'm sitting in front of a family of about 8 believers, and they're all dressed up as Martin Luther with their crosses, and I'm thinking, I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable.
But it is nice. It's if you've got an analytical mind,
yes.
and you've got an open mind, then you just want to share those views, and it's also nice to challenge your own views, right? I mean, I love it when people challenge my views, like you did there. I mean, it's great because you just kind of strengthen your own argument, but also possibly learn something new along the way.
But because I like science, and I think humanism is loosely, I mean, a lot of the founder members are eminent scientists and people that people you see on television. Because I like that, I think.
And Tom Cruise, Scientology.
That's a very different science. That's not science.
Isn't it? It's got the word science in it.
Tom Cruise believes that we're aliens seeded the Earth, and that we're all going to be collected by a giant spaceship when we die or something. I don't know.
Who's to say it's not right?
The odds are it's not happening. No, but getting back to the point, because you're trying to distract me again, is because of science. I believe in science, and that's based on facts. But if the facts change, my beliefs will change. And the problem is, you find a lot of people, irrespective, certainly in these times, a lot of people's opinions won't change irrespective of the facts, and that's what's worrying. You've got the vaccine rollout, and you've got people convinced that they're trying to kill us or fill us with electro. I mean, and whatever you tell them, they won't change their mind. And that's the problem, really, is that people should be respectful of views, but when they're based on some form of evidence, not something that's made up in their imagination, which they refuse to, back down on. I mean, I've read some awful things recently. I was playing golf yesterday, and we were talking about this guy who's complete anti-vaxxer, and and I thought that's going to permeate down to his kids, and it's just.
Unless the kids rebel, kids are quite rebellious these days.
I hope they do.
Not like back in our day, Colin. You never know. The kids are quite rebellious. There is quite a backlash. I mean, every generation does have their backlash, don't they? But they're quite anti-establishment. I'm finding this next generation. These 18-year-olds.
I don't blame them in a way. Where are the political role models? There aren't any, are there?
Yeah, well, they're very anti-TV. They don't have a TV. They're not into this license. They like the veganism. And they're very open-minded and very liberal. Very yellow, these youngsters, very yellow. It's very nice, very nice.
Good. I like that, though. I think people should be able to stand up for themselves and question things. I think we don't have to go blindly following what we're told. We should find out, and with the internet, I mean, with all the information's at your fingertips. The trouble is there's a lot of misinformation at your fingertips as well. And that may be the problem.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, we can talk about this all day, Colin. This is great.
We can't because I'm going to be watching the golf in about 20 minutes time. So
lovely. Well, thank you so much, Colin, for your time this morning. It was really nice to learn a bit more about you. Before we go, it's always nice to give a tip. So do you have any tips for anybody that maybe, if you're going to a funeral and any do's and don'ts I mean, I always ask business owners for advice. I don't know what advice about, to
Yeah,
ask other than you're going
I'll
to a
tell,
funeral
I'll
and you
tell you
do some
something.
don'ts.
I'll tell you something I always do is that I don't make the coffin the elephant in the room. And there are a couple of points I always make. I actually talk to the coffin. Now that
Yeah.
would go against that would suit your way of thinking. I know
Was
because
that
there's
top tip then?
well, it's not that. It's not about. This might be a metaphor, but it's not. Don't don't put something off. Don't ignore something that's right in front of your face. Deal with it. So when I'm doing a funeral, I will have a cup. I will say something, and I'll bring the car. And you'd have thought that, wouldn't you, Dave? And I'll bring him into the conversation. So
Right.
I always think it's a good idea. If something's right in front of you, don't kind of push it away. Just kind of face up to it and deal with it. I think
Okay.
so it's not
That's
easy
really
to do, but I think that could be for anything. If something's you need to deal with it. If something's right in front of your face, don't pretend it isn't there. And
Okay.
that never more true than with a coffin, because no one wants to know what's inside it.
Yeah.
And people get fixated on it. So I kind of make it part of the service and
Right.
the best
Yeah.
way I can.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, that's a very good tip. Very, very good. Thank you, Colin. Well, it was lovely talking to you and debating with you this morning.
Oh, and
This is
one
lovely.
more tip, just before you go,
Yeah.
make sure you've got enough bandwidth in your life.
Ah, boom. Little private joke there.
Private joke.
Boom, boom. Well, thank you so much, Colin. And make sure you are on the one group and that you post regularly. And I look forward to being your membership advisor.
Are we finished now? Can I go?
Yeah. We say
Thank
bye-bye
you.
to everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody,
Bye-bye.
whoever you are.